Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. Great article here from T-Mobile's newsroom. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys may check it out. So, T-Mobile is further improving or further strengthening its network for emergency preparedness for first responders. So, I want to speak about that a little bit, and I want to be straightforward and honest. In order for T-Mobile and the whole Priority branding, in order for this to work, they have to serve these agencies. They have to do it, right? If you're gonna get them to join you, you have to bring the network to them. You have to build out the network. And I wanna give AT&T's FirstNet as an example. Very early on, as they were barely starting, getting off the ground with the Band 14 deployments in 2017, adding that to sites, AT&T still had a lot of sites that were HSPA only at that specific time. They still were barely in the planning stages on expanding coverage. So they were still a smaller network at that time. And I remember reading several different articles about AT&T and some first responder agencies saying we're not joining FirstNet until they get a bigger network, or we're not joining FirstNet unless we can also roam on Verizon. I remember those articles, especially across Colorado, and that's now different, right? Now there's been plenty of investing, the network has expanded, but there's really no in between. There is no just good enough for these agencies. T-Mobile really has to deliver on the network side in order to make this work. And if they don't, then it won't work. These agencies will simply leave and they will go back to whoever they had previously, or they'll try someone else, right? There's Verizon Frontline and there's AT&T's FirstNet. So let's look at this article here briefly. The expansion enhances public safety by ensuring that first responders and local officials using the fairgrounds as incident command posts stay connected during emergencies. T-Mobile announced the expansion of its 5G service across 11 rural California county fairgrounds, along with the introduction of open Wi-Fi access in the fairgrounds administration buildings. This initiative is designed to support public safety agencies as well as federal, state, and local officials by providing reliable connectivity for incident command posts and central emergency hubs during natural disasters, ensuring seamless communication for emergency responders. This move aligns with T-Mobile's commitment to the California Emergency Technology Fund, CETF, to keep rural Californians connected in times of emergencies and to support other uses throughout the year, including for digital literacy, training, and economic development. So again, T-Mobile has to be there. With them doing this, they've acknowledged, like, hey, if we're going to go after these federal agencies, if we're going to go after first responders, if you want to land this contract, that contract, we have to bring the network there. We can no longer just leave these rural communities without any service. So they have to do it. They now understand that very well. Although it's still going to take them some time, they understand that this mission needs to be complete before they can really hit the ground running on first responders and everything else. And yes, they are doing that today already, but to really get that to scale and really, really put that dent in the market share and take more of that share from AT&T and Verizon, this is what they'll have to do. So the locations have been disclosed. Secretary of the California Department of Food and Agriculture, CDFA, Karen Ross, applauded the 5G deployment of the infrastructure to the 11 fairgrounds. CDFA welcomes these new assets to help California's first responders prepare for and respond to emergencies, as well as to provide those communities with the resources to use for other activities throughout the year. We express our gratitude to T-Mobile and CETF for providing this public benefit. So these are the 11 areas. You guys can see them: San Bernardino, Lakeport, Imperial, Orland, Angel Camps. And then you guys could pause it or check out the article. So again, T-Mobile understands that this needs to happen. They're loud, right? Some of these agencies are already acknowledging and they're thanking T-Mobile. They show their gratitude to T-Mobile for the expansion. So it's happening, right? But T-Mobile's starting from a point of being behind. It's just going to take them longer to get there. No amount of capex is going to speed this up. T-Mobile could spend $30 billion, which is nearly impossible, I would say, in a single year. You only have 12 months. There's only so much you can do within a single year. So within the planning period allowed within the year, right, within the annual year, there's only so much you can do. Verizon understands that. AT&T understands that. There's only so many tower crews to go around. There's only so many fiber contractors for the companies that build fiber in Verizon and AT&T. So they understand that very well. But T-Mobile understands this. Now that they're a bigger company, they're scaling. They're bringing their brand to nationally. Not that they didn't do that before, but they're bringing more awareness to the small market and rural areas. They know they have to deploy, not just for first responders, not just for the agencies, right, but for the consumer as well. If they want to grow the consumer business in, San Bernardino, rural areas, and all these other areas in California, they're gonna have to bring service. It's really that simple. I'm not trying to oversimplify, but it's that simple. They have to build towers. They have to bring service to these rural areas in order to make this work. If they don't, it simply does not work. That's why I always revert back to the early days where T-Mobile first got started with LTE. They didn't have the network to compete, and it didn't work. They had a churn over 2%. They were losing 500,000-600,000 a quarter. They couldn't gain any money. They had no profits. They couldn't really invest back into the network. It just didn't work at that time. But now it works because they're able to invest in the network, about 9 to 10 billion annually. They're able to now invest into marketing and into these types of expansions, right? 5G access. So it's a bigger deal, right? It brings additional awareness. It brings competition to these areas. Maybe, who knows, right? I'm even speculating. I haven't checked, but maybe Verizon and AT&T aren't serving these specific areas adequately. They might be. Don't get me wrong, but maybe they're not serving them with 5G. Maybe they don't have the C-band deployed in these areas. Maybe they're not as fast as T-Mobile. So this is an opportunity T-Mobile saw. They took the opportunity and they deployed 11 5G access points to 11 rural county fairgrounds. And now those customers and agencies have another option. So each and every quarter, each and every day, we get new announcements. T-Mobile's expanding. So little by little, as they add more backup generators, right? This T priority, I was on a X conversation the other day. So this T priority product is still set to launch commercially this year if all and everything lines up. It's still commercially set to launch. So from a networking perspective, T-Mobile has to be on it, right? Because they're going to push this. They know how to market very well. They know how to sell their products. So from a network perspective, they really have to be on it, right? They really have to accelerate the backup generators getting to sites. They really have to accelerate new sites getting into these rural environments where they don't have any coverage. I saw a post on Reddit, I think yesterday, where there's a new tower going up for T-Mobile in an area that's a complete dead spot. Like it's literally white on the map, and they're building a brand new site. So they understand where and when to build using the AI models and everything that they have in the planning period. But now it's just going to take time to get there, right? This is really, I know before it was always said it's a marathon, not a sprint. For T-Mobile, it's really that, right? This is a marathon. They're going to, over time, gradually, they're going to get better. And we're seeing that happen in real time. We're seeing the churn, 0.85 or 86, whatever it was. I'd like that to be lower, but it's not at 2% anymore. It's not over 1% anymore. They're adding net income, positive net income now, $3.1 billion this past quarter. They're on track. They surpassed AT&T on free cash flow 5.2. AT&T came in at 5.1. So, and they're guiding 18 to 19 billion by 2027. That puts them on par with what Verizon reports. Unless Verizon goes to 19, 20 billion free cash flow, on the free cash flow front, Verizon and T-Mobile are going to be toe to toe. So again, T-Mobile's improving. They're getting better. They're bringing more competition. I still say Verizon will have the best 5G network when it's all said and done, and more preparedness for 6G because of the millimeter wave. But T-Mobile is really doing their thing, right? They're deploying their N41. It's on 80% of sites, as they say. They're adding FDD, massive MIMO, to further make AWS and PCS more effective in terms of capacity, and they're building out densification. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.